was not expecting that. I'll tell you that. I wasn't expecting that at all. Sheesh. Leaving that in. Good night.
Hi, this is Zap, and welcome to the Resetnzap podcast. Welcome to the Resetnzap podcast. I am your host, Zap, and with me is my co-host.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy TJ.
You in the chilling mode?
Feeling real comfy right now.
Really, really comfy.
Yeah.
Well, you better get comfortable.
Yeah.
Because this is one of those episodes.
Okay, what we talking about today?
We're going to talk about communication versus comprehension.
Ooh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you trying to start something today? Okay, all right, let's go.
As a matter of fact, we're just going to jump right into it. You guess what? With what?
What is this?
With a chef kiss.
We just going right into it, huh? Okay,
Going right into it.
Let's go.
I'm not even gonna give you time to react.
let's
As a matter of fact, I'm already giving you too much time.
Let's go. Let's rock.
All right, so I actually found a quote that I want to share because it encompasses everything I want to talk about when it comes to this discussion.
Okay.
And listen up, because it's so good. And yeah, I'm about to stir up some stuff. So, but you know, we're gonna. I'm gonna be nice.
We got some fun today.
I'm gonna be nice. So the quote says, "I used to think communication was the key until I realized comprehension is. You can communicate all you want, but if they don't understand you, it's silent chaos." And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about communication versus comprehension because I got a lot of stories to share.
Okay.
I also got this based off on an episode that we had earlier where I spilled a little bit of tea to us women about how sometimes, you know, we want to be helpful, but by helpful, I mean not helpful at all. Yeah. You know, so talking a little bit about those roles in a healthy household between a husband and wife.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can talk about whatever you want. At this point, I just want to, what's more important for you? Let's start off with that. Let's start off with this question. What is more important for you? Communication or comprehension? Because I know both are important.
This is actually what this is so funny because I literally just said this to you like a few minutes before we start recording. Is that the truth lies always somewhere in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Like you look at one side and they have a good point. You look at the other side and they have a good point. But the truth is always a little bit of both. It's a little in the middle. Okay. And on this one, I think that is the key. But what I will say is I think that conversation is the first part. Mm-hmm. Like first you got to get to a point where you're comfortable enough with your partner to even have those conversations. Because sometimes those conversations aren't easy to have. Like we've had to have some difficult, conversations that may make you feel a little uncomfortable. We got to talk about some things we may not want to talk about and kind of put it out there. That's the first part of the whole, the whole scenario. But then the comprehension comes in as now, do you understand what that means? Like, all right, you understand what I've been through or what I've gone through, my past experiences and whatever, my limitations and whatever. But do you know what that means and how to act upon those things? I think that's where the comprehension comes in because if you really comprehend what somebody else is going through, what they've dealt with and everything else, then you'll be able to act on it better. Because you'll, okay, I understand that this person has, let me think of an example. Like, all right, this person doesn't like when, certain people try to come at you a certain kind of way. Like somebody's trying to talk to you and the way you handle it. Yeah. And, that's an uncomfortable conversation to have sometimes. But you have to, if I understand that, okay, I know something like this would bother her. So because I understand, because I comprehend it, I'm going to handle it a little differently and make it clear where my loyalties lie. So, like I said, the truth is somewhere in the middle. This is such a good subject.
Which, by the way, if you're listening right now and it is your first time, welcome to the podcast, to the Resetnzap podcast.
Yeah, we just kind of dove right in.
Yeah, because we cover it all. We cover it all. Here at the Resetnzap podcast, we talk about gaming,
Yep.
parenthood,
Oh, yeah.
work-life balance. We talk about our passions and interests. We
Yeah,
talk
that's
about everything, okay?
A little
Everything
bit
in
of this, a
between.
little bit of that. Yeah.
It's like the chicken sandwich versus a chicken burger. You're going to get
Burger for life.
all different points of view in one meaty episode.
Burger for life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like I mentioned, this topic is very important for me because I feel like in the past, I've been misunderstood so many times. So many times. And I learned this from a teacher years ago. And he was telling me how we're not really taught well in the art of being a good listener. Like, a lot of people out there can be great communicators and they can communicate their butts off. But when it comes to being a good listener, not everyone has the art required to be a good listener. Everybody wants to be listened until it's their turn to listen to someone else. So I think that part of being good at comprehension is actually being a good listener. Like, do you actually care when somebody is talking to you? Because there's a lot of people that you'll talk to them and their mind is just elsewhere, and they're kind of daydreaming out there, and you're like, did you hear what I said? What? Oh, my bad. And it's not that they're bad at it. It's just they don't care. Can I just be real? Can I just be real in this episode?
I was actually kind of going in that direction. That's where I was about to go, actually. It's like, because I was about to say I slightly disagree with you in a way, because in some cases it is like that, but I think there's two extremes also that you got to take account for. Like the one you were talking about is a person who may not actually be bad at comprehending. They just, like you said, simply don't care. Like, I know how to comprehend. I don't feel enough to act on it. Like, that's why I feel there's a third piece to it. There's conversation, then there's how much blank just like that. Conversation,
communication,
then there's communication, comprehension, and then acts.
Yeah.
See, that third part is what's important, because you can comprehend and then not act upon what you comprehend on. Like, and I don't care. Like, I know how to do it, and I know what exactly she wants from me.
But I'm not going to do it.
I'm just not going to do it.
Because I'm a grown-ass man.
Yeah, I just don't want to, so I'm just not going to do it. So there's that case. And there's also, once again, somewhere in the middle, there's me, where my issue is not that I don't comprehend. I do comprehend pretty well. It's just that I get to the act part a little too quickly. Like, I need to learn how to slow down and listen to everything and take it all in before because I'm like the fixer type.
Yeah.
I always want to fix it. You tell me something wrong, the first thing, all right, how do we fix it? All right, all right, you tell me this is the problem, how do we boo, 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 boo. But sometimes you got to really just listen and just take it in, and something I'm working on. I'm trying to get better at that, but I just want to fix so bad that I just kind of get ahead of it and just start acting. But I need to learn how to slow down and really take in what the other person is saying, because I may be misunderstanding or not really putting two and two together and acting in an incorrect way because I didn't truly comprehend.
Yeah.
So it's like there's those different extremes that you run into sometimes, and you just got to discover what kind of person you are, the way you communicate, the way you comprehend, and then the way you act, and understand what are your flaws in each of those areas, and then you got to try to pilot yourself away from those flaws to get better at doing all three. But once you have that Triforce, it came. See how it came back again? Don't make me do it. Because first of all, it takes courage to communicate.
Okay, here we go.
It takes courage to communicate.
Yeah.
It takes power to comprehend.
Yeah.
And then it takes wisdom to act. The Triforce of relationships. I just made that up. Let's go.
Wow. How did you do that?
I don't even know. I just cooked. I was just cooking.
You just inspired today.
I put a little Saison on it. It smelled good. I was like, you know what? Let's just roll with it. The Triforce of relationships.
All right. Do you mind if I go?
Do your
I
thing.
go all in.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and cook.
Okay, so
Stove is warm.
I'm gonna just share a personal story, and I'm not gonna bash this other person. I'm gonna talk about it from my end. Okay,
Let's get it.
let's just get it.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
one of my biggest problems for the longest that I had to learn was both. Welcome to my world. You thought I was gonna choose a side. That's what I did it on purpose. I had to learn both. Okay, here's why. Comprehension, because I have learned over the course of the years, and now that I'm in a healthy relationship, that if I don't care for that person, it don't matter what you tell me, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to be real.
Let's talk about it.
I am one of those.
Let's talk about it.
And it wasn't because I did not comprehend. It was that what I comprehended went against my ideals. And they were violating the boundaries that I had and what I was okay with within my social circle, within my interpersonal relationships. Because I'm not even talking about just like, a love relationship, an intimate relationship. I'm talking about all sorts of relationships with your friends, colleagues, coworkers, family. We're talking about everything in general, And like I said, it takes two people to be mature enough for one to be able to communicate well, but the other person to be able to listen, comprehend, and then, like you said, act upon those things so the relationship works. It goes both ways. But I've been in a lot of scenarios and situations in my life where all of my relationships were one-sided. They were like one way, where this other person always had expectations of, this is what makes me happy and you have to keep me happy so this relationship can keep going. But all of the effort is required from you and no effort from me. And that's why I think in the past I was a person pleaser, because I did not understand what it was to stand up for myself and be able to communicate with that person and be like, hold up. Okay, I'm hearing you, but are you listening to me? Are you listening to the needs I have? What are my boundaries? What I'm okay and not okay with? And do you actually understand me? Because for the longest, my closest family members, we had a fallout. Like we just could not get along, and it was really that. This person always said, "Oh, I know you well because you this and this," but it turned out to be that this person didn't know me, because then everything they said that they so-called knew about me wasn't true at all. Like, it just did not resonate with who I was. And I felt misunderstood because I was like, well, you're making all these allegations that you know me, but then you're saying all these things, and it's like it's almost like you're talking about a whole different individual. Like, you're not talking about me because this is not who I am. So that immediately lets me know that you don't know me. So did you even take the time to know me? Okay, that's rule number one. I'm going to give you some quick tips.
Talk about it.
If you're not in a healthy relationship, usually that means that y'all don't know each other. Did you take the time to get to know this person? Because part of comprehension is the simple act of getting to know that person.
Get to know.
So do you know that person? Because if you knew them,
if you knew
half of the stuff you're doing, you wouldn't do.
No, you wouldn't.
If you knew that person.
If you knew.
It's hard to not say names.
All jokes aside, though.
Yeah.
Part of that is it's a little bit of it can be difficult because there's this balance you have to play, like when it comes to like your boundaries.
Yeah.
Like to build a relationship, you have to be willing to move those boundaries a little bit, but you have to move them to a place where you're comfortable with that individual person. And I think that's what people get confused about, is that barrier might be different for different people.
Yeah.
So like I may feel comfortable enough with you up to this level, but other people I may feel more comfortable with, and then other people are gonna come before other people. Like, and the way my hierarchy is set up, my wife comes before anybody else.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what nobody else has to say. Doesn't matter what nobody else feel about it. If it makes my wife happy, then that's what I'm doing. And then everybody else falls underneath that, and you have to understand that there's different levels of boundaries with other people than it may be with other people, because there's a trust there. There's a foundation there. We built something. We both work for each other. We built this relationship. We built this team. We understand what the other person wants, what the other person needs, so on and so forth. So we have a different kind of relationship than what other people may have with me. So, and I think that's a problem that I think you
Oh, you nailed it, because that's exactly where I was going to go now. And that,
yeah, I think
and
that's
it's,
why I was going to picture. See what I did there? I'm about to lob it right over to you. It's the layup right there.
Yeah.
I think you've experienced something like that where people expected your relationship with them to be
to go beyond.
at the same level that your relationship would be with me, because they like, oh, I should be this and this and that, and why is he this and that, and they don't understand the story behind it, so they judge and make assumptions.
Yeah, and that's where I wanted to get.
Layup.
Once again, comprehension.
There's
And
a layup.
comprehension means that there's layers of access. So your level of access to me may be different to the level of access that my husband has with me. And being able to understand that will determine if we have a good relationship or not. So yeah, access levels. Yeah. Different levels. And just understanding. I love that I can break this down kind of like the same way as you got a team, right? You got an editor, you got your showrunner, you got the people in charge of finances and accounting. Everybody got different privileges, different tasks, and different levels of access.
Facts.
So,
and facts.
Know which one it is and behave like it.
Yeah. And then there are those situations where you have to understand where sometimes a friendship isn't meant to be. You know, sometimes you have to understand when it's like, all right, like apparently we're just two different type of people and we just don't need to be friends. Doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person or I'm a bad person. It's just sometimes different personalities just are not compatible. So you have to also understand those times when it's just like, hey, I wish you the best, but I think it's better for both of us if we just go our separate ways, because it's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
So let's just be adults about it, go our separate ways, move on, and just live our lives to the best of our ability. So that's
Yeah.
I think that's an
Also,
important thing.
as simple as understanding the type of friendship they even want to have with you, because as you grow in your own success, they're being friends with people from your childhood. Let me use this example. People from who you grew up with and family members, right? It's going to be very different from the friendships you're making now.
Facts.
Because the first thing you're going to think about is, well, the person who I grew up with knows who I am, and they're just there, for me. But then the people that I make friendships now, are they really wanting to be just friends with me, or they just want to be friends with me because they want me on their podcast, or they want to have access to me because it gives them a little bit of a spotlight for their own thing, or do they just want to be friends with me because they want to know what I did to start my business, because they also want to start their own business, so they just want to be there for that because they want those tips on how to run their own business. And at that point, you gotta determine, is that even a friendship, or are we just we're just business partners? Like what type of relationship we have, so that way our communication plus my comprehension is well balanced based on the type of relationship we have. Because I feel like a lot of people sometimes want to network. You hear that a lot. I want to network. I want to make connections. And I was one of those people back in the day, where I did not know how to draw a line between work and personal stuff. And sometimes I'd be friends with my coworkers, or sometimes I try to create friendships with people who really didn't want a friendship. They just wanted to do business with me and part their own ways. And you're gonna You're going to get hurt if you're expecting more from that person because they're like, oh, I thought you were going to support me or whatever, the case may be. And it wasn't really the case.
Yeah, and I think that's an important skill to learn. There's a point where you have to understand like what something really is, and because there's nothing wrong with having business relationships as long as you both have an understanding that that's what it is. Like, all right, we are linking up for this business venture, or we're linking up for this collaboration, or whatever the case may be, and that's what it is. There's nothing beyond that. We're not best buds, or we're gonna hang out and party together, or whatever. We're just here for this, and that's what we're gonna do, and that's cool. Or that's a different relationship than I would have with a friend. Like, hey, I have friends like even within Master Sword Music, like there's my guys Katetsu, VG, Thousand Star, Action Jack. We all have different relationships with each other, and it's all based on because everybody has their own life, everybody has what they're doing, everything has going on, but we all have a different relationship and it's special in its own way. The way I may link up with one person in the group may be different than how I link up with a different person in the group. It's just that comfort level and how far we want things to go and how far the other person is willing to go, how far I'm willing to go. It's just you have to understand those boundaries and what kind of relationship you may have with different people. And I think that's a skill that a lot of people don't have these days because they expect more or they want more or they think something is this, they think something is that, or because I say this, you think I like you, or because of this, you think I don't like you. People make things way deeper than they really are a lot of the times. And while you're thinking about doing this and doing that and all this and this and that, the other person's probably not even thinking about you at all.
Facts.
They doing their thing, they living their life, and they don't even think about it twice. They don't lose no sleep. They don't be angry about it. They don't just be running around feeling a certain kind of way. They just go on with their life. So like, why are you putting so much energy into something that they're not putting that same energy back into you?
Yep. And I guess the reason why, going back to comprehension, when I said that I just didn't care, usually the case was that I just sensed that the other person didn't care either. It wasn't putting the same amount of effort in wanting to understand me in the same way that they wanted to be understood.
Exactly what I was just saying.
So if I was sensing it, then I was like, what's the point? What's the point of trying to have a conversation with this person if it's just a waste of time? Because they're not, are they even listening? Or do they even care? Do I even matter? Are they going to follow up, Yeah. And at the same time, I wasn't only wanting to reassure those things. I wanted to make sure I was also doing the same thing in return. And if I wasn't doing the same thing in return, then I had to stop the relationship and be like, okay, something ain't working.
Yeah.
Let's try to talk it through. And if we can't make it work, then like you said, maybe we shouldn't be in a relationship.
Yeah. Why have the conversation if we really can't have the conversation? Plain, point, simple. If we're gonna have the conversation, let's have it. And if we can't have that conversation, then why are we here?
Yeah.
What are we doing if we can't even be adult enough to have an uncomfortable conversation about what it is?
Yeah. Facts.
So.
Facts. Which I have a couple of tips talking about communication and comprehension, right? Talking about relationships that I wanna share real quick. If my son lets me down here, by the way, because we're live. Okay. Welcome to parenthood.
He's showing off.
These are things I've learned and I'm putting into practice now more than ever since I've learned to set boundaries. And that is that I avoid people who, number one, mess with my head. I don't got time, nor do I got the space for it. The moment you start gaslighting me or making me doubt myself, I ain't got time for you. Just gonna keep it real. These are my boundaries. So number one, I avoid people who mess with my head. Number two, I avoid people who expect you to prioritize them, but they refuse to prioritize you. Number three, I avoid people that can't and won't apologize sincerely. I just, if we can't be grown-ups And when you make a mistake, you cannot apologize for your actions, and you refuse, like you think you are absolutely in the right, in the right zone, like I like to say, and they refuse. They were like, no, I did not do anything wrong. Then we can't be in a relationship, period. Number 4, I avoid people that intentionally and repeatedly do and say things that they know it upsets you.
I like that one.
Because there are people that I'm going to say it out loud. I
Talk
think
about
we're
it.
grown ass adults, okay?
Preach.
They are petty. And when you do something they didn't like or it triggered them, the first thing they do is they act like immature adults and completely like children, and will say or do things that knows that bothers you. And it's so immature. It's so immature because this problem or this misunderstanding of whatever situation might have happened could be solved as simple as just 2 adults talking it out. As simple as that.
Yeah.
And last but not least, but I avoid people that act like the victims when confronted with their abusive behavior. So
Talk about it. Talk about it.
And the reason why I say that is because, we have a lot of narcissists.
Yeah.
We got to put it out there. It is what it is. That will find a woman to be too much if all of a sudden this woman reacts to something that they thought this person was going to tolerate.
Yeah.
But now that the person is standing up, now this person is being too much, simply because they're standing up towards the disrespect that they had received.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going around. And just to all the people out there, if something that somebody can say bothers you that much, then it means your attention is in the wrong place. It means you're focusing on the wrong things, because people can say what they want about me. Right now, my focus is so on what I got going on here. I got a baby boy over here who's trying to take over the camera. This is not the Resetting Leon, okay? This is the Resetnzap. And I got my wife, and I got our other son, and I got my job, and I got, these bills. I got this life that I have to maintain. So my focus is on that. So the thing that people say about me don't really affect me, because it's like, I don't got time to focus on that. I don't got time to pay attention to that. So if something that somebody says about you that isn't true, if that bothers you, that means your focus is in the wrong place. That means you need to refocus on what's important and the people who do care about you,
Yeah.
I do what I do for the people who love to listen to what I do. I do what I do for the people who love me back. I do it for that little boy over there who needs me in his life. I'm smiling, looking all cute.
Yeah, so now that I've learned these things, it has helped me build stronger relationships. Because when I met you, it was the first time that I decided to step in and be like, look, you know what? If this isn't going to even work, we need to talk things out.
Gotta have a conversation.
We need to talk. And this time I'm going to tell you exactly what are my expectations, what are my relationship boundaries, what triggers me, what does not trigger me, what I'm okay with, what I'm not okay with, all that. All the jazz. We're going to talk it out.
All that jazz. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's the same thing that I've done now with friendships,
Talk about
with
it.
family members. I've had to say no to family members. I've had to set things straight. I'm like, look, if you want this to work, if you want to have a good relationship with me, you could be my dad, or I can be your granddaughter, or you can be my bestie. You can be my husband. If we want things to work, we need to talk things out. But we also need to understand. We don't even have to agree. Okay? Let's make that very clear.
Yep.
I have relationships now that I'm working on, and this person and I, we have different points of view, and we don't agree on everything, but we are respectful enough.
Got that right. Always. First and foremost.
To set aside any indifferences.
Talk about it.
Because we want to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, the following point is, Are you willing to set aside your differences
Have the conversation.
just to make a relationship work?
Got a jingle. Mm-hmm. What will fix your relationship? Uncomfortable conversations. Yeah.
So
You gotta talk.
Yeah.
That's the realest thing. Y'all better understand, like for real, like seriously. All jokes aside, I know I joke a lot because that's who I am. But those uncomfortable conversations will save 90% of your relationship.
Which, let's just dive into it. Let's talk about the roles of a husband and a wife in a healthy relationship. Because I was I was limiting myself about talking about this in a previous episode, but it is very true. I'm dead ass serious. Okay,
what you about to say?
I'm talking
You cooking.
to all the women that love to be married and have a good husband, okay? That ain't fooling around, that ain't doing what he's not supposed to be doing. That is a man that goes out to work, brings the bread home, takes care of his family, takes care of his wife, is faithful, is loyal.
You better stop gassing me out.
And he does what he got to do. You know what I mean? I'm talking about those. If you got one of those, let's talk. You and I, let's talk. Pull that chair, girl. Let's talk. Let's spill some tea, okay? You know, the problem we have, and I'm include myself. This is me, okay? We love to be helpful. Because some of us, we fixers, okay? And I grew up in a culture that we do everything for our man, okay? We love to take care of our household. We take pride in our household. We take pride in our family because we want to represent our household to the world and showcase to the world that we got it good, okay? Because it's an honor to serve our family. But sometimes wanting to serve our family becomes an issue. You know why? Because we want to do too much. And sometimes being helpful, it just ends up in not being helpful because you get in the way of your leader. And sometimes your leader is trying to solve 1,000 things and you think that you're helpful, but you're not. You're not. And you need to sit back and let your man lead, which is as simple as me asking you women out there, do you trust your husband enough to let your man lead? Because sometimes when we have trust issues and we don't and we don't trust enough our man, that's where we step in because we feel like we need to fill in the gaps because we know better. We know what's better for our family and for our household. And maybe you need to work that out first. Work, not even work that out with your husband, but work those trust issues within yourself first. Because if you're married, then that must mean you trust your man. Because if you don't trust your man, then I hate to say it, maybe you shouldn't be married. So I will give you this advice. Let your man lead, and when your man needs help, let him come to you. Because I'm not saying don't do anything. The woman in a household is very necessary because sometimes what guys will do, you know, they will not see what do you say? What is the correct term? In hindsight, what a woman sees beyond the present time. Like we will see into the future and be like, you know what? I don't think this is gonna work. And you can be that advisor, okay? You can offer, your feedback to his plan, but let him act it out. But the moment that your husband comes to you and be like, look, I'm trying to do this for the household. I'm trying to do this for the family. What do you think? Then you can step in and be like, okay, you know what? I'm so glad we're having this conversation. And now let me share with you, how do I feel about this? And once you guys have that conversation, then it's coming from a place where you're actually being helpful because guess what? Your husband is asking for your opinion. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, we went down. I don't know how we ended up where we ended up. I don't know how the ship landed, where it landed, how the boat got to the other side of the sea. I don't know how that bus ended up in a tree.
I'm just saying because the
But that's
problem that we
hey,
have,
mm,
the problem that we have.
All right, go ahead, do your
I'm gonna
thing.
take it to church. I'm gonna take it to church
Sit
today.
back, go ahead, do your thing.
The problem that we have is that we forget that the moment we get married and the moment we have kids, it's not about ourselves. Period. It's not about us. We're here to serve our family. And sometimes we get our desires in the way, our careers in the way, our dreams in the way, and we just want to do because we want to feel like we still run the house. You know, we still are an independent women. We independent women out there, okay? But the problem is, and sometimes you got to set your dreams and your stuff to the side. Because if it's not the time, it's not the time.
With that being said, I'm going to end this. Okay?
No.
I got this. Okay? All right. Don't forget.
You're going to end it.
Whew. To reset, Mike's got a little hot. It's a little warm in here. And Zap. For the week.
For the week.
But goodbye to all you people out there.